And in business, the federal government says it has designed 2 5-year policies that provided the roadmap for boosting the country's production and investment in the industry and trade sectors. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Doris Uzokanite, who is in Saudi Arabia for the Arab Africa Summit and Saudi Africa Summit, made the disclosure virtually at the closing of the 15th National Council of Industry, Trade and Investment in Castina. The theme of this year's meeting is digitization of industry, trade and investment sector for national development. The minister said the policies will assist in restoring the national economic confidence and improve the living standard of the citizens in line with the Renew Hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. And in Abuja, President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has read the Riot Act to the head of ministries, departments, and agencies of government who have formed the habit of shunning the invitations of the Nigerian Senate. Senator Akpabio delivered his warning while declaring open a 5-day interactive session on the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper at the National Assembly. He tells the 14 MDAs to desist or risk stiff penalties. Tijesu Adiye tells us more.
The Nigerian Senate begins a 5-day interactive session on the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. It is jointly organized by its Committee on Finance, Appropriations, National Planning and Economic Affairs, as well as local and foreign debts. The focus is to meet minds with heads of ministries, departments and agencies of government to critically assess and dissect the 2024 to 2026 MTEF FSP, which will serve as a roadmap for the economic and financial projections for the year in view. Declaring the session open, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, issues a stern warning to heads of ministries, departments and agencies of government who have formed the habit of shunning the invitations of the Senate to comply or risk being sacked.
Any head of agency that sent a representation here is not a serious person. And therefore the President must take a second look at such a person's appointment. It's not a threat, it is a truth. I shelve even my appointment to appear in Owerri today for a final rally of my party and all other schedules that I had to make sure that I appear so that we can strategize on how we can succeed. We start with the MTEF and FSP, and we are looking at a 3-year period. Then heads of agencies that ought to assist Mr. President to implement everything that he has in mind, including the body, will fail to be here. Such head of an agency is not fit to be there.
The President of the Senate notes that loans cannot be completely avoided. The Senate would make conscious efforts to reduce the budget deficits. Chairman of the Joint Committee, Senator Sani Musa, says although the country faces challenging times, there is a pressing need to increase the country's revenue sources, especially from the non-oil sector, and block leakages in the already existing revenue sources.
I want to assure you that the 10th National Assembly will carry on with the investigation targeted at blocking revenue leakages, curtailing frivolous expenditures by MDS, and also we will be doing this to boost the revenues of the government.
The Senate says it will strive to maintain the January to December budget cycle and block all revenue leakages, curtail frivolous expenditures by ministries, departments and agencies of government, and identify and boost new revenue sources for the government. Tijesu Adiye, TVC News, Abuja.
And now the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation says it has paid 1.39 billion naira to 36,163 depositors of 110 closed microfinance banks and 3 primary mortgage banks. Managing Director, Mr. Bello Hassan, said these are the NDIC Special Day at the 2023 Lagos International Trade Fair taking place in Lagos. Mr. Hassan said the corporation promptly commenced the liquidation of these banks and began disbursing insured sums to depositors within a record time of 3 days of the bank's closure, while stating that the payments of the statutory insured sum were still ongoing. The NDIC boss explained that depositors with funds exceeding the insured limit will receive liquidation dividends after the recovery of debts and the sale of the closed bank's fiscal asset earlier. President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Michael Olawale, thanked the corporation for being a worthy partner of the LCCI over the years. The African Development Bank, AFDB, and its partners are implementing the $20 billion Desert to Power initiative to develop a 10 gigawatts of solar power across Nigeria and 10 other countries in the Sahel zone. AFDB President Dr. Akiwumi Adesina said this while speaking on regional corridors. Quest to integrate Africa at the ongoing 2023 African Investment Forum in Marrakesh, Morocco, which includes the Sahel regional transmission lines. The bank is also supporting the development and expansion of regional power pools in collaboration with the African Union Commission and regional economic communities. ECOWAS Commissioner for Infrastructure, Energy and Digitization, Mr. Sadiq Uduka, reiterated the need for a connection that needs logistics for development. EIF is a place where bankable projects in Africa meet with investors meet with heads of state and governments in investment boardrooms. Let's take a look at some global equities numbers now. Asian stocks fell to their lowest in a week today, while the dollar was firm as elevated treasury yields weighed on sentiment after a hawkish comment from U.S. Fed Chair Jerome Powell extinguished expectation of a peak of interest rate. MSCI's Broadex Index of Asia Pacific shares outside Japan fell 1% to a one-week low, while Japan's Nikkei was 0.5% lower. Overnight, the three major U.S. stock indices closed lower, snapping the longest winning streaks for the Nasdaq and S&P 500 in 2 years as market optimism over looser monetary policy faded. China's stock eased by 0.6%, while Hong Kong Hang Seng Index was 1.6% lower as worries over the world's second biggest economy resurfaced after yesterday consumer price dipped back into contraction. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, the largest bank in the country, has been hit with a ransomware attack that has also disrupted the U.S. Treasury market. This is the latest in a string of victims ransom-demanding hackers this year. Hackers lock up organization systems and demand ransom for unlocking them and stealing sensitive data for extortion. Several ransomware experts and analysts said an aggressive cybercrime gang named Lockbit is believed to be behind the hack. However, the gang's dark website, where it puts names of the victims, is here to mention ICBC as a victim and is here to respond to requests for comments sent via a contact address posted on its site. And to the commodities market, Naira prices were up slightly earlier today, but set to fall for a third week as concern of supply disruptions from the Israel-Hamas conflict have ebbed, allowing demand worries to reassert themselves. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude rose to selling at $76.16 per barrel with an upward price margin of 0.55%. Brent crude futures also experienced an upward price review of 0.6%, selling at $80.49 per barrel. Bonnie Light recorded a downward price review of 0.05% to sell at $81.16 per barrel. And for the OPEC basket now, crude oil dealers are offering $84.27 per barrel with a downward price margin of 2.58%.